What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. And today we're talking some college football prize picks ahead of week 7. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. We are brought to you by PrizePicks, of course. First match deposit bonus up to $100 when you click the link in the video description below. And they are giving you one free month of Stochastic. That's going to give you all sorts of tools you can use to take advantage of not just college football, but we do have player projections for that. We have NBA, NFL, NHL's coming back, MLB's in the playoffs, as well as a bunch of niche sports that PrizePicks does cover. Again, link in the video description below. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to play. All right, let's go to the board. And hopefully we can clear all of them this week. We had a little 4 out of 5 action last time out, narrowly missing on a Quinn Ewers under, but got lucky on a Braylon Allen over too. So goes both ways. Anyway, we're going to kick things off with Maryland, and I highlighted Caden Prather, and I only have 4 of these on the board for you today, but if you're adding a 5th, I would probably just go to a second Maryland player. So I'll kind of break that down and explain why Prather is my favorite. First of all, Maryland is a 14-point favorite over Illinois in a game with a 51.5 total. Total's not super high. It's also not low either, but being 14-point favorites gives Maryland an implied team total of 33 points. They're going to put up a lot of points and a lot of yards. From there, Illinois lost 4 DBs to the NFL this offseason. Their pass metrics look pretty good, but when you adjust for opponent, they start to play tricks on you, and then Illinois actually doesn't look quite as good. A lot of this having to do with facing Big Ten opponents that can actually throw the ball. Now you're facing Maryland, who is 46th in pace and passes the ball 54% of the time. So they're playing fast and they're passing a ton. They also have a willing dance partner in terms of pace. Illinois is 15th in the country in pace. There's going to be a ton of plays in this game. And even if you just look at Tagovailoa's year-long stats, 278 passing yards per game on 35 attempts. That's just with middling efficiency, and now we might see the plays elevated in this game. So first and foremost, I like Tagovailoa overs. I know I don't have him listed. I think you can honestly just pick and choose the Maryland props you want to play in the pass game over. Tagovailoa grades out slightly worse than Caden Prather for me. You know what? I'm just going to add Tagovailoa to this because I'm going to play it anyway. So that'll give us a little 5-pack. So yeah, over 254 I think is fine on Tagovailoa. We haven't projected above that. So that's where I'll start. From there, we will go to Caden Prather. So we already talked about the pass game as a whole. We like that. We like overs with this Maryland attack facing a weak Illinois secondary. Maryland also condensed their receiver rotation, which is not something I expected them to do. But in their most recent game, they did that, and that's why I like Prather. I also think you can play Jayshon Jones. But last week, Ty Felton, 91% of routes. Jayshon Jones, 83% of routes. Caden Prather, 85% of routes. That was season highs for all 3 of them, and it coincided with season lows for Octavian Smith, who was below 10%. Ty Chambers was at 21, and then you had the tight ends mixing in. But as you can see, they narrowed their 3 wide receiver sets, and it's reflected in targets and routes. So right now, this is a season-long projection. If you're not going based on any trends, Caden Prather is going to project around 45.5. If you give him a slight boost for last week's condensing of the routes, he's going to project much better than that. And for us, he's about 10 yards higher, around 56. The same can be said for Jayshon Jones. I'll just pull up his prop quickly. If you have a feel on any of these Maryland players, I think it's fine. Jayshon projects as a value for us as well. Just Prather a little bit better. So we'll keep Prather. We'll keep Tagovailoa for now, but mix and match these guys. Receptions are also values too. So if you're playing multiple cards, multiple types of Maryland plays, receptions, receiving yards, any of it, this is something I do like a lot. Second, we go to A&M. Evan Stewart over 54.5 receiving yards. I flat out just think Evan Stewart is being underprojected coming off the injury. Now, he's had a game back under his belt, actually multiple games, but he's been banged up, and that's resulted in just, here are his target counts last 3 games. 3, 3, and 5. He's still averaging 7.6 per game, and he's still averaging 80.6 receiving yards per game. So I went back and I looked at the routes again, as I do. see what the deal is with Evan Stewart, because we know he's been limited in certain games. So seeing 3 targets, that immediately should raise flags. But then you look at the routes for Evan Stewart. Last 2 games, 42%, 97%. To me, that suggests Evan Stewart's getting healthier, and better days should be ahead. That 3-target game in their second most recent contest, yeah, he was playing through an injury, and his route share was cut, his targets were cut. Now they're coming back up. So if you give Evan Stewart a full target share, a full route share in this offense, in this game environment, he's going to project north of this. And it's a pretty good game environment. Texas A&M's playing Tennessee. They're only 3-point underdogs, 55 total. This is arguably the best passing attack Tennessee's faced all year. I know they had a duel against Florida already, but that's Graham Mertz. This is Max Johnson. How different are they really? And then Tennessee's third in pace. Texas A&M slowed their pace a bit recently with the quarterback change, but they're still above average. So you've got another game environment, which should be up-tempo and put up decent amount of points. We'll keep Evan Stewart on the board here. Third, we have an under. It's another receiving under. I guess not another. It's the first one. Jalen McMillan, 94.5 receiving yards. We're going under this, and it's a scary fade. The game environment is awesome. 66 total, 3-point spread in favor of Washington over Oregon in one of the Pac-12 games of the year. But this is the toughest matchup Washington's been in all season long. And you've got McMillan coming off the injury, which I think should be at least highlighted, because you have Rome Odunze projected for fewer yards than Jalen McMillan, which is a surprise. Now, getting into this, we do have a small sample of McMillan from earlier in the year. In the first 3 games, well, let's just do first 2 because McMillan got hurt in the third. He was well behind Odunze in terms of routes. Week 1, Odunze 89% of routes, McMillan 70. Week 2, Odunze 93, McMillan 69. Jalen Polk ran more routes than Jalen McMillan in week 2. And now Jimmy Bernard, since the injury to McMillan, has asserted himself, and he's been over 50% of the routes in 3 straight games. And he's played very well in that capacity, and he's also the best carrier of the ball among the receivers. They like to do this a lot in Washington. So I'm not 100% sure the routes come right back to Jalen McMillan, even up to 70%. And he's never seen more than 70% of the routes in any game this year. So right away, I'd rather play Odunze towards the over and McMillan towards the under. And McMillan does project as a pretty solid value towards the under. It's horrifyingly scary in this game environment, but I do think it's worthwhile. Last one. This is a greasy one. Devin Mockobee over 42.5 rushing yards. There's nothing about this matchup that's going to suggest Devin Mockobee is going to find any efficiency, but Tyrone Tracy's out of this game. And what happened last week when Tyrone Tracy went down? Well, they fed Devin Mockobee 20 carries. And what happened? He inefficiently got his way to 89 yards. Who was that against? Iowa. Now, Iowa has a phenomenal defense. It's also going to be a tough matchup here. But Purdue, they've shown a willingness to run the ball when they're losing in games. And they've shown a willingness to give Devin Mockobee a massive workload. And now that Tyrone Tracy's out of the picture, he's probably going to see somewhere between 15 to 20 carries. Even if he's at 3 yards a carry, he should be able to eclipse 42.5 rushing yards. I think it would take something pretty catastrophic for Mockobee not to hit this mark. But anyway, a couple things you can do with PrizePicks. If you do all 5 of these, you have to play the flex play. Gives you some flexibility. 5 correct pays out 10x, 4 is 2x, and then 3 correct, you get 40% back. But say you don't want to play 2 Maryland guys, you want to take out Tagovailoa, then you have a choice. If you want to do the power play, it's all 4 correct, 10x, or the flex play again gives you that flexibility. 4 correct is still 5x, 3 correct is 1.5. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring Tagovailoa back, and we are going to add his passing prop over. Make sure I don't hit any of the accidental wrong sides. Looks good. And we're going to play this. All right, everybody. If you have any comments, please let me know. I would love to hear about any of your thoughts on the night slate. Otherwise, we will be back next week breaking down more props. If you have a question, reach out to me on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Until then, good luck, and we'll see you next time.